the second ceremony with ayahuasca, I thought I was going to die for like 5 straight hours on the floor, face down in ayahuasca ceremony, contemplating my death. I was thinking about you. I was thinking about Danny. I was thinking about my parents. I was like, I'm never going to see these people again. I really thought it. In the depths of hell, I saw who I would be in my highest timeline.
I've curled up in the fetal position for so much time over the past year.
Yeah.
It's shocking.
Yeah, me too.
It's the amount of times I've just allowed myself to be sobbing on the floor of why am I here? Why am I living? Why do I feel as if I need to do this? This tug of war within was very active.
You have to find out if your desires are really yours, because it's very easy, and I notice it in myself, sometimes accidentally slipping into, wait, is this actually my own desire? Or is it somebody's very subtly that's projected upon me? What's my true soul's desire? If nobody else was even conscious in this reality, what would I do?
We are so unaware, at least most of us, how much other people's opinions or society norms or programming is actually affecting human behavior.
So how do you get to the root of your desire? How do you find out if it's really yours and find out what that is?
I ask myself, is it convenient? Is it a convenient desire? Because what decision, what move would lead to my highest growth and what wouldn't? Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Question Everything podcast. Today in the studio, I have one of my best friends, Jack Moses. We are straight from playing hours of basketball together, playing as hard as I've played in probably years. Trash talking, and the way things are going, like, we gotta hop in the studio. These conversations are just too good. So here we are. Glad to have you, my friend.
Thank you. Yeah, we were saying before we hit record that every time I come to Austin, we hop on, and every time I think it's gonna go deeper and deeper as we separate, go our own ways, and then come deeper into ourselves, and then meet back up, and then have fun and play basketball and play 2K and whatever. But then also we can go to the depths, and it's in your nature, it's in my nature. So I just looked at Cam's chart, his astrology chart, Vedic astrology chart, and your Mercury is in Scorpio, which is like communication. Scorpio is the deepest sign, and my Mercury is in Cancer. So I like can really absorb and flow with whoever I'm speaking with. So like the deeper you go, the deeper I also go, and I'm driven by depth as well.
Perfect.
So yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I'd love to talk about, first off, the connection between basketball and what that tells about you. Because I think every time we play each other, we just enjoy it so much, and we see the levels of competitiveness that we can get to that only really comes out when we are together going at it, and we both just kind of intuitively are like, all right, it's on. And it gets so much fun. Yeah. I love it so much. And then I open my phone as you're in the coffee shop, and the first reel is this dude talking about, I don't trust a man. He's not my friend until I play basketball with him. Because the way he plays basketball determines how good of a friend he's going to be. Yes. So I'd love for you to share like what comes up for you on that.
It's a deeper understanding of somebody's energy when you play a sport with them. Like if you're going to build a business with somebody, you want to play a sport with them first. I feel like you got to know what they're like in the arena. And something about you is I think instantly you turn the competitive fire on. Like there's no waiting. You have this Aries energy, like Scorpio Aries combination. Like you're instantly, you get on the court, you're willing to go hard. It takes me some time because I'm more easygoing, kind of calm, like flowy, watery. And it takes me like 3-4 games to be like, okay, fuck it. Like I'm tired of this dude beating me. Like it's time to fucking compete. And then once I get into the competitive nature, I love it. But it takes me time to sometimes get into that nature.
Yeah. 100%.
I mean, my core nature is more chill, I would say.
There's something about, I mean, like you're saying, with everything being Cancer in that way, you flip on like a switch though. If someone else is setting that tone, it's game time. Yeah. Have you noticed like now kind of a little background, you went from living in Thailand for a long time, doing online businesses, running cohorts, taking your skills that you've cultivated in the online sphere and meshing it with spirituality. And then I guess quite a while now, last summer or before last fall, you just decided I'm going to go back to school and I'm going to go play culture ball, which is just so like, what are you talking about? Why are you even going to university? Why are you doing this? Like, yeah, I'm going back to like suburban Illinois during the cold winter to play D3 football. It's like everyone in our lives are like, what the fuck is this dude doing? And now, so all that happened. I would love to know, like, what has football done for you when it comes to like personal growth and everything in that realm?
First thing that comes to my mind is getting back into the masculine, because in Thailand, what I did was I found my feminine for the first time. Like, I found the depths of my feminine. I found what it's like to actually be, fully be, just present. Don't need to do anything, nowhere to go, nothing to do, nothing to achieve. For the first time, I felt that, like, I'm cool if I just become a hippie and I live out here and I'm a volunteer at this hostel. I really felt that. So football has been reestablishing that masculine drive of I want to go pursue something, and being around a group of like 19, 20, 21-year-old guys has been great for that too, because they have this energy. And so I can get into that energy too, because I can work and absorb people's energy a lot, which is maybe another topic. But getting into the weight room and like these guys are listening to hard rap music. They're like, they don't even warm up. They just throw 315 on the bar. They're like, let's fucking go. That's good for me. That's good for me. Now, it's been an interesting balance of like, how do I balance this world, podcast, spirituality with football? But they're integrated in a way. Like, there's not a moment that's disconnected. Like, I'll be on the field and looking at the moon and just like, holy shit, like this is such a wild, trippy, spiritual experience. But like, I'm in the game at the same time. So it feels like it's all divinely orchestrated. Like, I'm supposed to be there to have that experience, to share these stories. And it makes me think, am I supposed to continue playing? Like, in a way, like Aaron Rodgers, like he helped awaken so many people to ayahuasca and plant medicines. Like, could this be part of my divine mission to deepen into football more? Time will tell, but because we haven't even played a game yet. We've just played spring ball practice.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so fascinating how it feels like for both of us, we're both like mystics at heart. Mm-hmm. But other than going to meditate on a mountain the rest of life or live in the forest, mm-hmm. we feel called to be in the modern world, in the matrix. Mm-hmm. And for some extent, we're in it. Especially for you, though, you kind of went to Thailand and did your own thing for a long time. And mm-hmm. I know, at least what I did for Bali, we can kind of create this ecosystem around us in which we're only around people that are awake or high vibe or kind of on the path. Mm-hmm. And so we, do different things in the day. We eat different. We have different conversations. Just everything in our life is just so different. But you went straight to like that, to football locker room. Mm-hmm. And again, suburbs of Illinois, like back deep in the matrix. Mm-hmm. And that's something that is very difficult for people that are quote unquote spiritual to do, because mm-hmm. it's a lot more comfortable and a lot easier to be in this high vibe world. And a lot of people just don't feel called. They don't feel like it's their path to go back in mm-hmm. to that level. How'd you prepare yourself, and how did you decide whether that was your path or not? Mm. And how has that been ever since you made that decision?
What happened was I was on a 10-day retreat in Peru last October, and I sat with ayahuasca 5 times. Now, the insight did not come in an ayahuasca ceremony. It came on the 4th or 5th night in solitude in the jungle, like 4 a.m. It was actually 10-23. And I know that was the exact moment when I pulled up your chart was 10:23 a.m. this morning. So that number is very synchronistic for me, 10:23. But on 10-23, this dream came through. And in the dream, I had the realization that I wanted to play sports again. And then what I think happened was my mind and my ego were so starved of any purpose out there. I was angry for like the first 5 days. I'm like, I'm wasting my fucking time. Like, I could be doing stuff. I'm so bored because I had no technology, no books. I was barely writing or journaling. Like, I was just sitting there and I was just like, there's nothing to do. But once that kind of passed and my mind was starved to a sufficient point where the desire of my heart and my spirit could come through, that the idea to play football came. And I just started running around the jungle, like throwing rocks in the water. I was feeling like it was the feeling that I missed the most of throwing the football, just running around, like throwing on the run. And then I sat with it for the next 5 days in ceremonies. And another key point here, and I know you would resonate with this, I was shown my blueprint, my mission over the course of the next, not few years, like 50 years, like 70 years. Like, what am I supposed to do on this life, on this earth, over my life? And it felt so huge, and it felt like so much weight and so much pressure that from that place, my higher self almost was able to tell myself now, dude, you're 23. It's okay. Go play football. Have fun. Like, this is all still going to be happening. It's all going to be here. You don't have to put all the pressure on yourself now. So it was a way to connect me back to play and my youthful spirit in a way, while also remembering, like, you're here for a fucking pretty big purpose.
Yeah.
And I know you resonate with that.
100%.
We talk about it all the time.
Most definitely. I've had visions my entire life of what I'm here to do. And sometimes these visions are a second long. Sometimes they feel like they're a minute long, but I'm given this premonition, this vision, this insight into what a few months from now can look like, a few years, a few decades. And it's jarring. And I don't know what it is, but in particular, you and I mean, I think we're destined for a large amount of impact in whatever way it's meant to look. And in today's 3D world, it looks a lot like a lot of money, a lot of attention. And when you feel that reality before you have it, it feels very intense. Is there anything that you've seen that your future may hold that either you're super excited about, or that you're like, oh crap, is it really going to be like that? Did anything come up for you on that?
Yeah, it's a great question. There's so many tangents we could go on, but what comes to mind is the second ceremony with ayahuasca. I thought I was going to die for like 5 straight hours. I thought I was in a cult. That's what this is like some past life stuff was beginning to be triggered, and I thought I was in a cult. They had my phone. There was no internet connection. They had my wallet, my passport. I was in the heart of the jungle. I was like, this is all a fucking cult. They have guns. Like, I'm not going to get out of here. And I spent 5 hours on the floor, face down in ayahuasca ceremony, contemplating my death. I was thinking about you. I was thinking about Danny. I was thinking about my parents. I was like, I'm never going to see these people again. I really thought it. And I had a whole plan and a whole strategy. I was going to sneak to my friend's little house in the middle of the jungle at night, tell them, like, say, dude, should we go along with this? Like, it's a cult. Because nobody else could see it like I saw it. Now, as I deepened into that, I realized that all of society could be perceived as a cult, and that it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. But there was some deep, like, past life things coming up there. So
wow.
I felt I went to the depths of hell. I was 100% convinced I was going to die. And in the depths of hell, I saw who I would be in my highest timeline. Like, I had to go down there to see who I could be if I was all that I was, which was me at 50 with, like, earrings and, like, singing opera music with super long hair and a long beard. So fucking weird, right? But let me not minimize it or justify it.
Yeah.
That would be like the fullest expression of my spirit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so first off, just to confirm, you weren't actually having a ceremony in a cult setting.
It depends how we define cult. Like, and I had a long conversation with a trusted mentor who was there. And in Spanish, there's no word for cult. There's culta, which means culture. And so all of culture is essentially kind of like a cult. It's a power dynamic. The Matrix is built on that.
Most definitely.
Like, could somebody have perceived what Jesus was doing with his disciples as this is a cult leader?
Yeah,
right?
100%. I agree on the macro level that cult and culture is prevalent amongst society. But just confirm that retreat you went on, the ayahuasca, that wasn't something that we'd see as Scientology or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, there's the cult, like, we question everything as a cult. Question everything, of course, I said that. But there's also kind of the cult that I guess a normal person in the Matrix would say, of like Scientology, you know, the Mormon religion, the people that did, you know, Jonestown, all that. It wasn't Jonestown type thing, right?
No.
Okay,
like,
so
nothing,
it was just a normal ceremony. But it had you kind of question it all.
Yes, but I was finally seeing down to the roots of human nature.
Yeah.
These subtle dynamics, power dynamics, ego structures that keep us in harmony, but also very subtle energy things. I saw the depths of my own nature. I saw the depths of human nature. I saw the depths of humanity. Like, what's going to happen if we don't course correct this ship? Like,
really?
Extinction.
You saw that?
Yeah.
How did that
look? Almost makes me cry. Like,
yeah.
Sit with it again. I was shown how the human spirit reincarnates through generations. And I also saw that the animals and the plants, the spirit of the animals and the plants wants to save the spirit of humanity. It's like we're our own tribes. Like there's the human spirit, there's the bird spirit, there's the plant spirit, and Mother Ayahuasca helps us remember who we truly are. And that's what they're trying to do.
So the other tribes that exist, the living organisms that partake in the larger organism, I see it as like we're all one hand, but we're all different fingers of a hand, right? So let's say the human race is the thumb, sticks out like a sore thumb. The plants, pointer finger, animals, maybe in general, or certain variations of animals have unique amount of fingers, whatever it is. The elements, everything else in play there. You're saying that through ayahuasca, it helped you understand that the fingers are all trying to help the thumb remember.
And the sore thumb, the human ego is like a fungus that is parasite. It's like a parasite. It's killing itself, and it's killing the larger organism of the earth, the human ego, the idea that we're separate. But the birds and the plants are living in oneness. They're living in Eden. They're living in non-separation. But we have the illusion that we're separate from nature. We must take from nature. We must take from each other. And it's all an illusion. And I saw that. And I saw that it's our destiny and our generation to try to bring us back to Eden.
To course correct.
Yeah.
Humanity to remember that.
And we're supposed to be talking about this.
Of course.
The floaters are around as 100%.
Well. And so you're saying the floaters because you oftentimes notice synchronicities in your life around certain things that pop up. And there's little floaters, let's say, of like maybe this carpet or of the light above or the drapes over there that just come in, a little piece of cloth that come into your vision. And that's when you know that something that we're doing is important. And this happens to you all the time.
All the time.
Yeah. And so a lot of people listen to this and be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But the universe is in harmony, right? And it is wanting to show us signs that we're on the right path. And so that is what people have now used the word of synchronicities to describe. And so as you're bringing this up, you're noticing synchronicities.
Yeah, not as much synchronicities, like I'm seeing a sign that's connecting, but an actual white floater or a little string or a particle that begins to float between us. And it's just confirmation because it's the unseen planes, because we're just communicating in the 3D plane, essentially.
Correct.
But there are unseen spiritual planes that are also in the mix here. And I feel it is the unseen spiritual guides that put those things in my awareness to remind me, like, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
You're in alignment. You're on the path.
Yeah.
You're meant to be here right now.
And what you're doing is important.
Wow.
And that's another thing about being back in Illinois that I'm realizing, like, it's important. Like, this came to me 2 days ago. I went to a graduation party, like drinking beers, smoking cigars. Like, it's a good time. Like, all my high school friends were there. And I had this conversation with this girl who was 20. And I used to be her PE leader. When I was a senior in high school, she was a freshman. Now we're much older. And she was talking about AI. And she was like scared. She's like, is it going to take our jobs? And she was really smart and wise about all this. And it got me thinking so deeply about it. I was like, AI is our return to Eden. Like, if we can solve our material needs with technology, where else do we evolve other than spiritually? And that conversation was so deep, and it reminded me, like, okay, the work we're talking about is so important.
You're 100% correct. I love it. I see AI as a tool from the universe to expedite humanity's course correction back to oneness. That's what it feels like to be. And so on that hand analogy we were doing, it seems like maybe the pinky is AI. And the pinky may be that last thing to bring everything together to make the hand one again. That's always felt right to me, but very few people that I speak to are even open to the idea that AI is actually a stepping stone for us. So you feel that to be true?
Of course, or else why would we be creating it?
Yeah. Well, one would argue that there's so much that we have created that has destructed us and separated us. What makes AI the exception?
Everything's double-edged. Like, you could invent the nuclear bomb to destroy the world or to fuel the world. Like every single tool is double-edged. So social media, it helped us connect, meet, it helped us put us on the path, but it can also ruin your life. AI is going to be the same. I think it's just going to be to a higher degree. It's dangerous. I think it's dangerous if you outsource your soul and your mind to it.
Yeah, your decision making, your discernment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but if you keep those intact and use it as a tool, I mean, you can create a completely different reality. You can create a movie like that nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, it's so fascinating. Interesting. What do you think? And again, you are someone who, anyone I know our age, is deep into astrology right now. What do you think is going on in the collective, in our galaxy, that is lining up, that signals? And I would love to know if you feel the same way, that this right now is a huge period of time. It feels like an inflection point for so many in our individual lives and also the collective. Anything coming up for you and kind of your research around what's maybe going on?
A few things. So in Western astrology, we're entering the age of Aquarius, which is, we were just in the age of Pisces, the Piscean age, which was the last 2,000 years all about like top-down authority, power, control. And Aquarius, astrologically, we're shifting into the zodiac constellation of Aquarius. Aquarius is about freedom, individualization, decentralization. Now, I don't know the Vedic equivalent with there, like what age we're in, but I also would compare it directly to what we're seeing with this concept of the singularity. Have you heard of the singularity?
No.
It's this hypothetical concept where technology, the rate of advancement of technology, reaches a point where it's indistinguishable from time. So at each moment, technology is evolving and it becomes completely nonlinear and like it's always happening. And I feel that's also the same exact time that the collective consciousness would rise to oneness.
So the same trajectory that technology is on when it comes to rapid advancement is the same trajectory the human consciousness, collective consciousness is on.
Mm-hmm. And that's the 5D Earth too.
Oh, most definitely.
It's all gonna merge at the same time. This is why sometimes I'm like, is this all a fucking trippy video game?
Oh, most definitely. Yeah. I watched The Matrix about a week ago with the level of awareness I have now. And the idea of it literally being a documentary is something I just can't get out of my head, because every aspect of this, I'm like, this is our life. This is what's happening right now. I feel like we are literally all about to be unplugged, just like in the movie. Have you seen the movie before?
Yeah. Tell me more about like, what's connecting?
Everything they share in that movie, the more I learned about spirituality, the more lines in that movie make sense. And so in that movie, and for those listening to this, I highly recommend watching it. Look through it through the lens, and this is a little extreme for some, but that Neo is Jesus Christ. And that Morpheus and the team of people are higher density beings. They're potentially aliens, or they are, aliens that came down in the human body. They kind of reincarnated or shapeshifted in a way to communicate with him to advance his skills. But basically, the entire movie is getting Neo to the point where he believes he's the one. Right? And the more I go through life, the deeper I understand that it's all about belief. It's all about knowingness. And for us to be fully aligned with the highest version of ourselves, it takes us returning to a place of knowing in which we deeply understand that we create our reality with everything in every way. And this is so true, in which if there is a single thing in your reality that you do not want to be there, you are the director. You can take it out of the scene. This goes for people. This goes for your environment. This goes to opportunities. Whatever it is you so please, it takes a level of awareness to realize this is, in fact, a simulation. This is, in fact, a video game. And just like a video game, I can do whatever I want at any given moment. And understanding that our thought forms, our chosen thoughts, beliefs, will then turn to actions. But the higher vibration we are, the more we know who we are, the more those actions quickly manifest the results.
Mm-hmm.
So we're condensing time the more we are embodied in our knowing.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what makes manifestation powers to a complete different level. When you remember that you are perfect exactly how you are, and you are the one,
Mm-hmm.
truly, that you are the main character in this video game, that you have the Xbox controller in your hands, and you truly live that way. You're not ever like yelling at the TV, how did this villain guy hurt me this way? It's like, no, I got to get better. I got to know how to move around him. Maybe I don't even have to go. I can go a different part of the map. Don't even have to deal with that. It's getting to that point of full accountability and no thread of victimhood in which you fully take back the remote controller. And from there, you can play the game however you so please. But it takes a level of awareness to that you don't really have any selfish desires anymore. Because so much of the selfish desires that we know to be true are just things we're trying to fill a hole that we have in our heart. Right? I need to make this certain, and that even that word, I need to make a certain amount of money. I need to do this. I need to do that. That's all coming from a place of us not feeling safe within. But if you truly believe that you control this video game, you choose if you're going to be safe or not. You are co-creating every single reality. Oftentimes, we're unconsciously volunteering ourselves to be in chaos, to inflict trauma, until we learn we no longer have to do that. That's how this video game works. And so watching The Matrix again and understanding that the entire movie is about Neo, and Neo is a reflection of Jesus Christ, of Buddha, of everyone who's ever been there, and also of us, of what we can be. It's all a story of him learning to fully remember.
Yes.
And there's a period of time where he remembers, oh, I can dodge bullets. Great. And then there's a period of time where he's like, oh, I can just make sure there's no bullets in that gun, period. I don't have to dodge shit. I don't have to react at all. I choose this reality. There's no guns in that bullet right now. You can't hurt me. You literally cannot touch me.
Yeah.
And so the entire movie is going to him getting to that point.
Yeah, on the basketball court, something's coming up. We were like, we choose to be in a reality where we don't get ankle injuries anymore.
100%. We're talking like you were talking the shoes. I got the Currys, and they're especially made for people with ankle problems. I'm like, I used to get ankle problems, and you're like, I don't speak that in my reality anymore.
Yeah, not anymore.
We literally do not allow the opportunity of getting, and this is something I've actually manifested in my reality over the past year. I have told myself I am not getting sick.
I remember you said I opted out of the game.
I opted out of illness. I don't participate in illness anymore.
I told my parents that you said that for some reason, and they just thought it was absolutely bonkers.
I know. Guess what, y'all? I haven't been sick.
Yeah, me either.
I've had periods of time where I am obviously shedding things and low energy, but never have I had like the common cold or flu. And this is going to even really go there, but I feel like I'm ready to say it. I have been able to opt out of participating in allergies. I don't feel as if there's anything that my body still is allergic to. There are things that I don't prefer, I don't like the taste of, but even allergies within itself, I would say 90 to 95% completely gone. Which is, I mean, a total mind fuck. Total mind fuck. But this is what's going to happen. And this is, of course, just how society works. This is what they need at this moment. We are designed to become very famous, very wealthy, so that we have all the materialistic things. And then from that perspective, people's eyes and ears will begin to open more to these ideas that I'm saying right now. But I must first embody these things to get to that level of wealth and fame.
It's all interconnected.
But once that is there, people's open-mindedness will begin. When you're the wealthiest man in the room, people shut up and listen. And if you tell them I meditate, I don't ever allow myself to be a victim for anything in my life, I choose to not believe anything in my life is hindering my experience or has power over me, or I need to be the victim for, and those things. Once you realize, oh, that's the formula to being, worth hundreds of millions of dollars, whatever it is, they're gonna blow their mind.
It's like Aaron Rodgers doing ayahuasca, and then he wins back-to-back MVPs after he does ayahuasca each year. Now, if he was just some bum quarterback, like nobody would listen, but he just won the MVP twice. Wait, he's doing ayahuasca? How's that helping? Like, the reason I got into plant medicines was Rodgers and a guy named Pat McAfee. Do you know Pat McAfee?
Of course, yeah.
That's such a good show. I love when they do a show together. It's kind of like this. They're fucking awesome guys. But McAfee said, like, the reason I got to the NFL was because I did mushrooms my sophomore year of college.
What?
Yeah. And I listened to that and I heard him and Rodgers talk about it and it opened me. But to your point, like, because of the worldly success that they've attained, I was more inclined to listen to them because I wanted to be like them. If I was some hippie on the side of the street who told me like, oh, dude, you got to do mushrooms, I'd probably be like, you're fucking crazy. But, oh, Aaron Rodgers just won MVPs because of it. So he says, tell me more. So I'm with you. I think that's why we're playing the worldly material games in the first place, or else you would just opt out of the game.
100%.
But I think you can play the game, but you're not actually that.
100%.
You're not the game.
Yeah, exactly. And it takes a level of true nonchalance, true not careness, unwaverability to realize, hey, if this game gets a little twisted and maybe not in my highest preference, I'm still going to be all right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still all good.
And something else I wanted to go back to, because I think the desires part is really important, is two ideas. Like, your true desires are like the money, the status, those are really surface level, but like the true desires is you want love, you want connection, you want to feel free, you want to wake up every day and feel joy. The money might be a tool for that, but you don't necessarily need it. The second idea there is you have to find out if your desires are really yours, because it's very easy, and I notice it in myself, sometimes accidentally slipping into, wait, is this actually my own desire to continue a football career? Or is it somebody's very subtly that's projected upon me? What's my true soul's desire? If nobody else was even conscious in this reality, what would I do?
100%.
Yeah.
That feels like the question.
That's being Neo.
100%. It's like, was this my thought?
Mm-hmm.
Or was this a program thought? And most people that the internet would claim as matrix bots, or what is it, non-playable character,
Mm-hmm.
what is it, NPC
Mm-hmm.
type thing. Those are all people that aren't aware that all their decisions are coming from a place of being programmed. It wasn't their thought that chose that. It wasn't their thoughts that chose like this basketball team and go to Disney, every 3 months, and to work this job for this amount of time because of this 401k, and then end at this time, and then have 2 kids because of this, marry someone from this family because of, like, all those things weren't actually their decisions.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of a template they've been given that sets them up to not reach their full power as a human being.
So how do you get to the root of your desire? How do you find out if it's really yours and find out what that is?
I ask myself, is it convenient? Is it a convenient desire? Because what decision, what move would lead to my highest growth and what wouldn't? So it definitely gets a little tricky in certain areas, and that takes like a really good body awareness to realize what's coming up in this moment. Is this coming from the mind? Is this coming from my gut, my sacral, or what exactly is going into this decision making? But there are things that are definitely quite convenient for some. I see people all the time. It's like, being an entrepreneur, it just felt right, but just felt like I got to go back to my 9 to 5. Was that really, did you feel like you had to go back to your 9 to 5? Or was it just convenient because of you knew the version of yourself you must become to go on the entrepreneurial path wasn't someone you were ready to become? You were fearful of that next level of yourself, of what you must give up to give or to get that level. And so you choose a different path that keeps you feeling more safe. I see this, all the time in so many different ways, and we're all doing it to some extent that we're unconscious of on the spiritual path. So it's all love. It's all part of the process. But really looking at everything in our life and asking ourselves, is this actually my highest good or not? Having that level of observation, the level of discernment. I realize that the more I intentionally ask myself that before any decision I make, big or small, whether that's, do I want to go to the gym today? Do I want to eat this food today? Do I want to work with this client today? Do I want to work on this today? Do I want to marry this person? No matter what it is, there is a level of discernment necessary to take place because we are so unaware, at least most of us, how much other people's opinions or society norms or programming is actually affecting our human behavior. We caught it today in the shower. No, the shower. We weren't showering together, y'all. We were in the sauna.
Yeah, we're not that
that's
close.
next time. No, we were in the sauna and we were noticing some synchronicities, and I said, "That's crazy." Why would "that's crazy" be a response to something beautiful happening, or "that's wild," or "that's insane"? That's something that I've been programmed to say after watching certain TV shows, after watching certain movies, hearing my parents say something similar, as we all have for our own parents, and it's not individual, it's just on the collective. There's a certain language that we're doing that's actually hindering our experience. Because once we understand that our words create a reality, we realize a lot of what we speak into existence isn't actually serving us. And so many things, it's like, I am lazy, I am tired, I am not good enough for this, I'm getting old, I'm getting fat. All these things are actually casting spells, that's why I call it spelling, into our life for it to manifest. And so what's happening in this example is if we are seeing something amazing happening in front of us, society would want us to be like, "That's crazy. That's insane." They want us to take our awareness off of it and deem it unfit or untrue.
Yes.
Or not worthy of that level of excitement and power and inner just awe.
Because it's like I see from what I perceive, a higher dimensional being coming into our field, putting a floater between us to remind us that this is what we're supposed to be doing. And then our program selves are like, "That's crazy."
Yeah.
Bro, did you see that basketball game last night?
Exactly. Distract.
It's like, do we actually want to look at like, oh, if this is all real, what is the root of that?
It's disregard and distract. And so what I've tried to do, and this is something that I must consciously begin to do, it becomes easier over time with other type of work, but you gain momentum for picking up on these things and correcting the behavior. But other than saying "that's crazy," I'm like, pause. What a blessing. What a gift. This is incredible.
It's like, are you in the body? Are you in the breath? Are you really there? Or is the mind just like looking for the next thing, the next shiny thing to talk about or do?
Our mind is the thing that doesn't want us to look at the truth. It's like, I don't want to. It just acts like that all the time. So it's grabbing on to anything it possibly can to distract us from being in the present moment and witnessing, pure beauty and pure God, it feels. Yeah. Have you, you went just like, again, back into the matrix. Like you were in classes.
I wrote a newsletter. I think I made a YouTube video too. It was called like Neo in the Matrix or something like that, like talking about this exact phenomenon.
How was it being around groups of people that are just normal people? They're all good people, but they're not awake. They're not tapped in, that a lot of their behavior is still socially conditioned. How have you been able to maneuver that world?
One, it's brought up a lot for me as well of like, what are my conditionings? What's my programming? Like, why do I still get nervous to give a speech in front of a class of college kids? Like, that was interesting to navigate. What I will say also is like the intuitive abilities were always there. Like, I could feel instantly when I met a new professor, I'm sitting in the class, I could feel the energy of the whole room. I could feel the energy of the professor. Like intuitive downloads during a test. Like I didn't study. I would just ask and get the answer oftentimes.
Really?
Yeah. So
you're telling me you'd be sitting in class, not having studied, and you just ask the universe for what is the right answer and it provided?
Yes. Or I would like connect dots or something, or I would see something that would click.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's how it all works.
Yeah.
We have access to infinite wisdom from anyone or anything at any given moment. We just don't allow ourselves to be able to have that capacity.
Or we're not even aware that it's possible. Like if I were to tell most of my football teammates or classmates, like, oh yeah, like I threw that out route because like an interdimensional being put this thing on the field that made a floater fly across the field that way. And so I knew that was the right direction. Like it's so wild. Yeah. And I don't share that with that many people.
Yeah, because they just can't handle it.
Yeah. And then it's also like like it's so fucking out there.
Yeah.
There's also a part of me that might not fully be integrated with that to speak on it super freely to everybody. But then it's also like, do I have to say it? No.
100%.
Like I've heard Rogers is pretty psychic.
Really?
But he wouldn't maybe publicly say that. Or you would frame it as intuition.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I just had an intuitive hit that I'm supposed to throw the ball this way. But what if many of the top quarterbacks in the NFL, especially the ones that do medicines, are actually psychic? How would that change the world's perception of what's possible?
It would make complete sense.
Yeah.
And I mean, we talked about it a little bit earlier today. There are so many very high level CEOs, business owners, people that are legit running the world that behind closed doors have a personal astrologist. They call like, hey, when's a good date to launch this product? Or what's going on? Why is this happening to business? What's going on right now astrologically that I should be aware of to help prepare to resolve whatever it is.
Even this podcast is synchronistic astrologically because the moon is in Libra, which your sun is in Libra in Vedic. So it's like a harmonious type of interaction, a harmonious conversation. It goes to Scorpio tomorrow. And you have so much Scorpio energy. So like this is a perfect match of energy. And it times up. It's so strange. Like almost every day now, because I look at the positions every day, because I'm writing a newsletter now, a daily Vedic astrology update newsletter. Like I'm swimming with the current of the energy of the cosmos, or I'm attempting to. I'm learning how to. And it's like the fruits of that have been surprising in some ways. It's like, okay, it's a moon in Cancer. I just have this feeling I'm probably going to have like a really deep connection with this one girl who I was seeing tonight. And it happened. Now, am I predicting that? Am I manifesting it because I think it's true? Or is it the universe that's happening? Like, it's probably all true, right?
Most definitely. It's like, yeah, exactly. Are you predicting the inevitable, or are you saying it's going to happen, creating that reality? Probably a little bit of both.
It feels like both, and it feels like, okay, the stars are in this position. This energy is present in the universe. What would it look like if I flowed with this energy right now? And so right now, yesterday, Mars moved into Leo. So Mars is energy, drive, ambition, creative firepower, masculine power. Leo is center of attention, self-expression, leadership, creativity, charismatic. And so how I think about it is, okay, Mars shifted into Leo yesterday. It's going to be here for 7 weeks. These 7 weeks, it's time to channel as much creative energy into my own personal creations as possible, because that is the energy that is present in the universe.
I love that. And you just live your life by that pretty much.
It's very new, honestly, like the past month or two. But like even I'm working with Jack and Nick Sweeney for Coherence. I'm helping them with some writing. The root of that was I saw Mercury was in Aries. And so Mercury's communication, Aries is bold, quick, courageous action. And I was like, I'm in a financial pickle right now. I want to find a way to make some more money. Let me send quick messages to a lot of people I think I could help and see what happens. And things manifest after. But the root of it was I saw the chart. I looked at my life. What situation's present right now? Financially, okay, I want to make some more money. I want to pay off some debts. I want to have some security for Thailand. Let me work with the energy of Mercury and Aries and capitalize on it.
And like this 10-day window, whatever it is, I'm going all in on that.
And even like in my cohort, because a lot of people were freelancers or trying to sign their first clients. I'm like, guys, Mercury's in Aries for 7 more days. Like, send the quick messages, send the outreach, send the proposal. Like literally the universe is calling for it.
Do you ever feel, this is where I go back to the whole, is this decision based upon the highest good? And is it convenient for us to believe this? Like that's kind of where my discernment comes in when it comes to making either micro or macro decisions in life. Do you ever feel like when it comes to astrology, you've noticed that it makes you put a little bit more of the brakes on things and be more hesitant? Or does it really feel just like all offense of like, well, this season's going to be business, the next handful of days it's going to be more romantic, whatever it is? Or is there ever a time where it's kind of, I'm just, not going to do this thing because of this?
It's a great question. Well, I think the danger of it is like you live your life by astrology, or you live your life by your tarot cards or whatever it is, or by what AI is telling you to do. That's the danger. You lose your own connection to your Christ consciousness within you. But I was supposed to go to California a few weeks ago, and I was feeling like the energy starting to shift. It didn't feel right. And then sometimes what I'll do to like confirm my intuition is verify it through tarot oracle cards or through let me look at the stars and see what's happening. And the moon was shifting into Taurus, the sun was in Taurus. There was a few different positions that basically were like, this is a time to be still, to be stable, to get grounded. And it felt like going to California at that time was the opposite of grounded. And so I decided not to go. So sometimes it is like pump the brakes.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But it does feel like it's not, at least, going to California is much different than, oh, I guess I won't launch this business, or I won't do this offer, I won't send that text. Yeah, whenever I see people halt the brakes or halt the car using the brakes around things like this, and they justify it either through astrology or just whatever is going on, I'm like, oh, I don't know about that.
I think the danger is like when you affirm something over yourself of, oh, I'm just a Taurus. I am just this archetype in human design. I just don't do that. It's like those things aren't dogma. They're just maps. But they can be, whenever you define yourself, you limit your potential in some way. Like, I am this person. I'm a businessman. I only write about this topic. I'm an agency owner for these exact creators. It's like, who could you be if you drop the label? It could be anybody.
And that's what a lot of people are in right now. What I've realized is, as people become more aware, they still need to cling on to something. So they take on labels. And so it's like, I'm the spiritual bro now. I'm the business person. I'm the one who cooks for everyone. I'm the host. They create these boxes for themselves, and this is a big one. I am vegan. I am carnivore. I am keto. I don't drink. I do drink. Like all these different things, they put themselves in boxes. What all that really is their mind trying to create a safe space on the playground. Be like, no one touch me. And this square is my square. I'm perfect. Yes. Everything's fine right here. Yeah. But I understand when we're transitioning out of the world looking like a war zone, how necessary that safe space is. And we see this in politics, we see this in everything. It's very necessary to feel a safe space, because there is a transitionary period before people, just like we mentioned earlier, when it comes to self-empowerment, when it comes to realizing you control this video game, it takes a period of time before people look at it from just a little 10 by 10 square foot safe space to, oh, actually, this entire world is a playground that we've just mistaken as a war zone. So maybe I don't need to just eat this one way.
It's that simple.
To be okay. Exactly. What if I don't need to just eat this one way, train this way, be with this person, don't talk to this person.
Say, I am a Catholic. That this is what I believe. This is who I am.
I am Christian. I follow this book. That one
shows up in my field a lot because I go to a Catholic school, which is quite interesting. Because some people will ask, like, are you Catholic? Are you Christian? I'm like, no, but I love Jesus. I read his stuff all the time. And it just kind of breaks like a preconceived notion of how that even is possible.
Yeah.
So I see that a lot.
That definitely happens with religion. I have the exact same thing. It's like people only know anything other than the five senses in the form of a few books. And that is explaining all that is of the entirety of the universe. But none of those books feel 100% true. Some of them have 20%, some of them feel like they have 80% truth, whatever it is. But all of them, there's still more to this life.
Yeah, the only way you can really know God, I think, is through your own personal experience. I'm curious for you, like, if we go into, if I were to come into the perception of Cameron Hogan, like, how do you perceive reality? It's a very broad question, but
that's a great question, though, man. For me right now, with my current level of awareness, my only goal in life, only job I have as a conscious being for my life is staying in constant remembrance that this is all an illusion, that this is all a video game. And the best way for me to stay in that constant remembrance is to maintain a vibration, an energy, feeling that makes that the default. And so I know that what I create in this world is only possible at a certain vibration and is only possible at a level of emotional readiness in my nervous system to actually make it happen. I am rapidly scaling businesses right now because I know I'm finally ready to embody more of the creator within me, to really begin taking control of the video game and realize if I want a dozen high quality people that I love that are also high vibe, that are very confident at their job, I can get them in my reality like this. I can get them all here within a week and up to speed very soon, if I so please.
Yeah, it's like, how would you play the game of the video game of business if it was all a video game?
100%.
How would you play if it was GTA?
If it was GTA, I think what you mentioned earlier about what we're shifting into, I think you said we're shifting into Aries, is that right? Or shifting into
the Age of Aquarius.
Age of Aquarius, that's it. You said this is the stage of decentralization, of empowerment, of sovereignty. That is how I'm choosing to run businesses. I mean, not only are we doing our best to adopt technology that is decentralized, like Bitcoin and other type of payment processors that allow completely away from the system, but also the people that I have work with me, there is going to be a different type of business model that I'm creating that's going to be different from an LLC or an S Corp. We'll still have to utilize those, I guess, contracts that we sign with the government of how we're going to execute business. We still have to do that for this phase, but we will pioneer a new way of doing business in which everyone, not necessarily is salaried, even though some will be for a period of time, they will be profit incentivized. So we will, as a team, not just shareholders, but stakeholders, so everyone involved, including the owner of the businesses, the high level employees, the more lower level employees, and even to some extent the customers, will decide what is an equitable share in the profits of the company per role and per season of that role's life. If I have a season in our business where an event planner is going to be really working hard, with another season where it's very little work, their pay, their rate, their much of my time, and pretty much the access to the resources of the pool of money that is generated by the businesses is all malleable. And right now, myself and my soon chief of operations that will be coming on board in the next handful of weeks are really going to be ironing out what we believe will be the future of business, the future of how companies pay their employees in a more equitable way, where it is just complete transparency.
Libra coming through.
100%. It's all about equality for me, truly. And it's not that everyone's going to make, $80K a year. No, it's like, it feels more like equity, where you are going to receive in an equal proportion, as much as you possibly can, to what you have given energetically. And especially it's going to be unique as businesses evolve with AI. I'll be paying people less for their actual skill and more for their discernment and competence, confidence in their competence.
Dude, I'm really excited to see how you grow and evolve as not only like a spiritual being, but as a businessman over the next 5-10 years, especially because like you speak like you're not 25.
Really?
Oh, definitely. Like you sound like you're a 35-year-old guy.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so I want to ask, who do you look up to from a business leader perspective, or who do you draw inspiration from? Because I know you're kind of paving your own path and you're doing it all a very unique way, but do you draw inspiration from anybody else?
Very few people. There's someone like Danny Morell. Do you know who that is? Danny Morell, quite a bit. He's doing a really good job at having like conferences and retreats that he names Awaken, which are just fantastic. He lives here in Austin. He's great at what he does. There's Peter Crone that has similar spiritual gifts that I have, of intuitive healer.
He's also a wizard businessman, but 100%. I don't think people know it.
Exactly. And so there are people like that that have unique pockets of what I'm trying to do holistically, doing very, very well. Yeah. And then there's, I think, like the Tony Robbins type guys who are still very much in the matrix and talking to normal people as their audience, more of a motivational speaker as opposed to what I would call a soul surgeon, maybe, of what I am or whatever it may be. I look at the scale at which they're doing things and like, okay, what belief system must I embody to condense the amount of time it's going to take for me to have a very similar impact of Tony Robbins, of some of these bigger people? How can I attract similar people that made what Danny Morell is doing on stage, made what Tony Robbins is doing on stage, Peter Cronin's doing on stage? How do I condense the amount of time necessary to attract the people necessary to create that into my reality for myself? And what must I do myself? What level of vibration, what level of self-clearing, of understanding of all that is, must I do to be able to be someone worth listening to? And even just saying that, I'm like, that sounds like it would be coming from a place of I need people to watch me. But I think this is something you may also share, and I'd love if this is a little different for you to share that. But there's a huge part of me that, like, I've never been happier, like just living in a hut and driving a moped in Bali. Like that, even though I feel a different type of happiness now, and maybe even more in some extent, that's peak. And that's like owning very little, no one knowing our name.
Freedom.
And from that point, it's like every one of our desires are now coming from a place of impact as opposed to lust, envy, need. And so from there, it's like, yeah, I want to be speaking on stages because I have incredible things that are going to change people's lives. And if that happens and I need to be anonymous, I need to go under a pseudonym and do, so be it. It's not about that. It's about the impact now. And I've made that shift officially to where every single day I wake up not for myself. I wake up to do the things necessary to orchestrate and facilitate the manifestation necessary to rise the collective. That's my day. That is true living in service of others.
Yeah, and it's bringing this quote from Jesus to my mind. He's like, it's not I who speaks, but my Father who speaks through me, right? It's like, that's what you're doing in a business context in a way, ideally.
Perfecting the vessel.
Yeah.
Because all I am is just a vessel. This is happening through, I'm channeling all these businesses. I'm channeling everything.
Yes.
And this is where it's going to get fun.
Yes.
I feel like, and again, this could be convenient, but I feel like our mission on here, our purpose, is to also get all the things we used to want, but now get it from a place of love of ourselves, not needing to fill a hole, and of service of others. Very good chance, give me like probably a few months, I'll be driving a Stingray Corvette, just like my dad always had, always loved it. After this house, in a few years, maybe get a bigger house where we have a little bit of like a retreat center set up, where I have potentially a basketball court, stuff like this. This would have made a younger, more insecure version of myself very happy to know that's my future. But what's most important is the intention behind it. I just know and feel is coming from a place of love, in which I know, just like how much we love basketball, that's going to be a connector for so many people to then open the door to them into our world, to then learn a little bit about astrology, like yourself, learn a little bit about spirituality as a whole. We have connectors to normal people. And if that means normal people are going to see on Instagram this car and they're going to click on the profile, so be it. So whatever that's supposed to manifest to look like for us to adopt and embody and own potentially, I am going to do, as long as it's in the highest good of humanity.
Yeah, trust that it's all coming.
Exactly.
And I have a theory for myself that when I get to a place where I truly need nothing, that's when I'll make all the worldly material success, because I don't actually need it or care.
Yeah.
Because right now I've been in a little bit of a frequency of need for the last 6 months, like living in an expensive apartment, paying rent every month, like groceries, living in the USA, it's expensive. I spent all my money traveling in Thailand, like, you know, making not the wisest decisions, which it's all part of the path. But I feel what I could see happening is I go to Thailand, I'm living for $1,000 a month. I have nothing to worry about. I'm free all day. What would I create from that frequency? Of I don't need anything. What would I go create? What would I go build? And it allows me to think way bigger.
That's so unique. I love that. It's like, let me do the things necessary to unlock the mind. It feels. I have a very different perspective right now. Is it right if I share that?
Of course.
I had that for so long. But then I knew once I moved back to America, especially once I met Elle and just how life was going, that I was going to take on living expenses that required something from me.
Yeah, you're closer to Saturn return than I am.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. And so I'm looking at it as, okay, how much offense can I create right now when it comes to this media company for video editors, for, you know, making sure we love our house, we have high quality food, make sure it's good. That is pretty pricey. And so I'm looking at it of like, what version of myself must I become when it comes to a business leader, when it comes to health, when it comes to all these different facets, for me to look at expenses of $30K a month and not bat an eye.
I see more and more business leader, entrepreneur in you. Tom Brady is like energy. I know he's a football player, but it's that same quarterback energy in a way.
Appreciate that. Coming from a quarterback, that means a lot.
Yeah, my quarterback frequency is a little bit different, I think.
How so?
I think, at least in this season, writing has been calling to me a lot more. Like being more of a traveling writer.
I love it. It makes sense. I mean, I remember I haven't seen your face glow up like this in a long time, but today at Lifetime, you said, I'm paraphrasing here, like you're meaning to write a few books. Like you have a few books that are pretty much ready.
They keep coming in my mind during this conversation. They're not ready. They're not ready. The ideas are marinating, and this is the factor of school, football, working different freelance jobs. It's like, where's the time? But I know they're important, and that's what's appealing to me about go to Thailand, live for $1,000 a month. Like, don't have to worry about, won't have school, won't have football, won't probably have as many jobs or work opportunities. What would I write? What would I create? Because all the books are important in different aspects. I'm like, should I share them? Should I share the names or not? I don't know.
What feels right for you in this moment?
I'll share the one that feels most prevalent. I'm just going to share all the fucking names, okay?
Fuck yeah.
And I'm not going to give any more necessarily context unless you want to dive into each one, because I feel like I could speak on every topic, and we almost have. So trust yourself. How do you find the courage to go your own way? The subtitle is A Message from Your Higher Self. And it's the book I needed, and I got it tattooed on my arm, Trust Yourself. And now I finally returned to writing it again because I need it again. I'm writing it for myself again.
And are all these books something you're writing for yourself?
In a way. Yeah.
That's writing. That's writing.
There's a book called Our Eden, or Eden is Here. Don't know which one yet, but like Eden is this exact moment right now. It's all actually perfect. Like we are living in the Garden of Eden. And then I can go more into the business sphere, like futuristic thinking, the creative worker. How do you navigate the AI and consciousness revolution as an entrepreneur? That's another one. There's one, this might be very long term, but the divine masculine traits that I see in myself and in people. What's the highest ideal to embody for a man? Exiting the arena, which is how do former athletes find and discover a new layer of purpose and identity post-sports. So I think this year will be important for me to be able to write that book as well. But the more I come into myself, it's like, what do I want to do? I want to share my music with the world. I want to share my writing. I think I actually want to share music and DJ. Like I want to bring people together and have retreats and elevate people's frequency. Like that's what lights me up.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense. And I know I've always seen you like be your happiest in Thailand, like you just mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Something about
it. Like the photos and videos that you would send me from that place, every part of you just felt so light and bright. And still now you're looking pretty darn good.
Thank you.
But there, it's just a complete different level.
It's because any illusion of pressure on myself disappeared there. There was no pressure to be anybody. I felt like I could be anybody, I could be nobody, and that was okay. And there's something freeing about being nobody as well. Like you mentioned the anonymous thing, and like sometimes I put my Twitter profile picture and everything is anonymous, and I notice it subtly starts to transform me in a weird way.
Yeah.
like, okay, the writing and everything I'm doing, it's not really about me, especially when my profile picture is a yin yang. It's like the idea is what's important.
Yeah.
I resonate with that.
I love that. To be honest with you, man, every time I see your profile pic, I just think, oh, he's not ready to put his full face and video out there all the time.
I actually knew this was going to come up in this conversation.
Really?
Yeah, I knew it for some reason. But it's more so I didn't have any picture in my camera roll that felt resonant with who I feel I truly am.
Yeah.
And I think that in Thailand I'll take a new picture, like with my hair longer and everything. Like,
yeah.
But it felt almost like putting it to the yin yang. It's like a cocoon phase for a few months. It's like I'm going into myself. I'm going on an adventure. I'm gonna work on some things, and then I'll emerge again and put my full face out there. But fuck, I have no problem going on camera and stuff now. Like, that is fun. Like, and I know you're launching the new video offer, but like being able to put your phone on in your car and just start speaking and share it with everybody who knows you, including your high school friends, that's freedom.
100%.
It's the highest level.
Dude, yeah. It makes complete sense. Yeah, I understand. I remember for so long I'd keep an old photo for years sometimes because it would be very difficult to just all of a sudden, just like right now, just like new profile pic, you know? But it makes complete sense. It's like this unique level of journey to becoming more authentic as we are actively expressing ourselves to the world to see. It's so different from the average person because our lives are so much more public. Our thoughts, our ups, our downs. We have podcasts about it. We create courses on how to help people through certain things in life because of what we've been able to do, whatever it is. It's such a unique way of living that so many humans have never experienced. And so it makes sense if we have seasons of, okay, I'm down to be more on camera and I'm more expressive, and sometimes just want to, hibernate or cocoon, whatever we may want to call it.
That's something interesting to think about too. It's like, how much of your life do you want to document? And maybe we could talk about this. I know you've been deepening into more and more of it on Instagram and stuff, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think about it both ways. I think it's powerful to show people my life, but also like, I think it might be more powerful if I just kind of disappear for a few months and create something that's really impactful and then emerge again and share it and then kind of go back.
Good chance that that's just your type. I feel like that's the case for most people. They're just not meant to, have their entire life on a live stream, which makes sense. It's perfect.
Do you think you want that?
I think it's going there. I think very soon, which most people on the history of the planet would be like, don't sign me up for that. That's not happening. There's a level of just being completely beholden that I'm here for a purpose and I'm here to serve others. And that energy behind that inner knowing is so much stronger than any level of either insecurity or even just desire to have certain things be in private. I don't know what it is. I think Elle and I, again, we're bred for this. This is what we're meant to do. But we are meant to put our life on full display for people to see the good and the bad, the ugly, and learn from it. Like, I know everything I'm doing with business is going to be revolutionary, and the best way to share that is to literally have people not only hear about product announcements, but also be in the boardroom with us as we make these decisions. There's something to that I feel as if is going to be very important for the impact I'm trying to make in the world. And for the collective, it's going to change some things up. So not only with business, but I feel like, I'm going to be a fantastic father. Like, I'm very much balanced in the divine and feminine when it comes to being able to, provide and protect, to keep order in the family, to be somewhat of a disciplinarian, but also like warm, love bug, fun person, nurturing. And so I feel as if the way, especially when it comes to men, there needs to be a template for how they can choose to live going forward. And I just feel as if I'm meant to be one of those templates. And not saying my life is for everyone, but it's for someone, most definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm getting to this, I would say, speed and velocity in my life where everything is from flow state to flow state to flow state to flow state.
Mm-hmm.
I'm either writing, I'm working out, I'm having a loving conversation, I'm leading, I'm everything. All my waking hours of turning into that. I'm meditating, I'm reflecting with myself. Like there's so much. I need to show the doing and being that's necessary in life. I need to show, and again, need is something I'm trying not to say anymore, but I feel empowered to show this parts of me to a level where I think very little things besides like us being like butt ass naked.
So that's coming.
Then maybe one day.
It's probably coming.
Yeah, probably.
Real.
Like legit. I think more people will be more open to that because it's been just very much
we would
shame.
be free as humanity if we could sit here and post that and nobody would think anything of it.
Exactly. And I think, I don't know if I'll be the cutting edge of that, but maybe, and I'm down for it. But that's not now. That's not right now. But a lot of our life is going to be live streamed. And I just deeply trust, like, I have this feeling that I'm going to be divinely protected. People are like, family be like, well, people are going to know where you live. I'm like, they already do. Like,
that's interesting.
Like, so much of the security concerns are just fear of unsafety, right? But if I genuinely believe I create my own reality, and L's in the same wavelength too, we know that if we so please, we are untouchable. We will not be harmed. We will not be hurt. And the right people will understand our intentions. The people that aren't meant to see it, or even if they are meant to see it, if they're triggered by us, they're triggered for a reason. So even if they think that we're not doing this for the good, if they think we're doing this for selfish reasons, to become rich, to become wealthy, to famous, and all the things that come with that, like most people have in the past, they're being drawn to our content for a reason. And potentially one day they will understand. And if not, that's okay too. But there is something to having our life on display, especially when it comes to parenting kids, that is going to be a game changer. And we're doing it in a way that feels healthy, that feels loving, doesn't feel like we're just pimping our kids out for views or pimping our employees out for views. It's going to come from a place that feels real and authentic. And there are so many people that do not have a mother, period, a father, period, let alone a healthy role model. If they can see someone that is actively doing their best every single day to make their life and the world around them feel more peaceful, more at harmony, to feel more abundant, that is going to be, I mean, the greatest purpose-driven experience that I can give for humanity at this moment. So it's really exciting to start that. And I mean, again, if I made the decision last night that I'm hiring a videographer that's going to follow me around for at least a handful of days a week. And so because I made that decision last night and I'm emotionally ready for that, I will have a videographer within the next 72 hours. And they will begin this week. It's like, that's how fast things are moving right now.
Yeah.
And I just feel ready for that level. And it's time, because this is how I'm going to make an impact. It feels different in the studio. It feels different here and there. And I'm getting better, make sure at all moments I feel my full self, and I feel like I'm pretty much there. But there's also so much that goes on behind the scenes, just in our day to day, the conversations, the people seeing me have immense amount of fear, literally laying down in the bathroom crying about, I don't know if I can do this. I now am supporting half a dozen plus people's livelihoods. Like, I want them to see those moments too. They need to see it all, because it is all that is perfect. It is all that is needed for them to rise as well. So yeah, I hope that answered your question, but it was,
I don't even remember the question.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I mean, dude, I'm just in so much full support of it. Like,
Thank
and
you.
everything you want to build and everything Al wants to build and everything you want to build together, I see it.
Thank you so much, man.
I see it. And I'm a huge fan and I'm in your corner.
Thank you. Yeah, it's always felt that way.
Yeah.
It's always felt that way. And thankfully, I feel like we're at the point where people literally only come into our lives if they're here to help. Like, vibrationally, we just know immediately if someone has nefarious intentions or what their true reason for being in our life is for. It feels like they're either someone to help in some way, or they're here to be a lesson for us. They're a test, or they're the teacher. That's really it.
Yeah.
Damn, that's great right there. They're the test of the teacher.
Yeah, somebody write that down.
Yeah, that's really what's happening. And so when you really look at every single person in life like that, it becomes this just amazing classroom experience to help empower yourself to become more of the highest version of yourself.
That's beautiful.
Most definitely. You've gotten some, I would love to kind of pivot here. You've gotten some new tattoos since last time I saw you.
Interesting.
I would love to know. I think so.
Huh. I think you might have seen this at the retreat.
Ah, okay.
But this was post Thailand. I mean, where's the best camera to show people?
Probably this camera 3.
This one. It's kind of hard to see because it's on the inside of my forearm. But yeah, it's
you're not just going to a random tattoo shop and picking out a design. These are things that are
typically
well intuited, right?
Definitely. Now this is interesting meaning. So what happened, and I appreciate this question. It's fun. Okay, the first tattoo was on my ankle. Yin yang, just kind of like broke the ice. Like this was a big step for me, like to become my own person. It's like, okay, my parents don't want me to get tattoos. Nobody in my family has tattoos. I'm just going to get a little one on my ankle. Now, I was thinking about putting it up here, but I was like, I don't want people to see, so I'm going to put it here. So if I wear a shoe, nobody's going to know. That was the first step. Then I got this one, which is some important sayings to me. It's all play. Trust yourself. Be here now. And then something I drew. But this one was in Thailand. I had a Kundalini session with a girl who was very tapped in, and I was laying down on my back, and she was basically interdimensionally working with the Kundalini life force energy in my body, and she helped it rise all the way to my head. Essentially, dude, I was doing fucking back bends. Like my body was just like expanding because this energy was rising all through my chest, through my heart, through my throat, and I was doing fucking back bends while simultaneously having all these ideas and visions of like, holy shit, I am destined to be the vessel to build these projects, essentially.
Wow.
And so the meaning of this tattoo was, if I stay aligned from the root to the crown, creative life force energy will pour out of my right hand, which is my creative hand, football throwing hand. Now, I found something else out interesting recently, that I'm a metal snake in Chinese astrology. 2001 and 1941 are the years of the metal snake. And it's like every one is rare because it only happens every 60 years. But metal snakes are like very psychic, very intuitive, strong-willed. And then I realized this literally looks like a metal snake on my arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's quite interesting.
And you got that tattoo after you realized that?
No,
or
like
before?
Before.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
This was more so when I first started connecting to the life force Kundalini energy in my body.
Can we tell people listening what Kundalini is, to the best of your ability?
Yeah. So Kundalini is essentially life force energy that's coiled at the base of your spine. So everybody has it. There's some really esoteric texts about Jesus, and there's this quote about Moses. It's like, just as Moses lifted up the serpent in the desert, so the Son of Man should also be lifted up. So essentially what that means in an esoteric way is, in the desert of your own soul, in the desert of your own desires, can you lift up the life force energy to the crown, to the third eye, to spiritually awaken? So the way to do it, and this is not so much from experience, at times I have, but I haven't been as maybe spiritually disciplined as the yogic masters or Jesus and Moses. But if you can retain your life force energy, you don't orgasm, let's say, you don't let out your seed, and you can move it up through the chakra system, through your sacral, to your solar plexus, to your heart, to your throat, to your third eye, you can have a very profound spiritual awakening. And this energy is usually lying dormant in the base of everybody's spine, in the base of their chakra system. But once you get it to move and awaken, it's called a Kundalini awakening, which can be very jarring. And like, I met a guy in Thailand who had such a profound Kundalini awakening. He was like bedridden and immobilized for months. Carl Jung was talking about Kundalini too, like the psychologist. He wrote a book about Kundalini yoga. And he has this quote. He's like, once the Kundalini awakens, your experience of life is completely different than before.
It feels like the flip of a switch.
Yes.
100%.
So have you connected to it?
I believe so, to some extent. I don't remember. I think this may have happened like a sensation, but actually taking place. But I remember the awakening feeling
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I've had it somewhat multiple times. I feel like we can channel it and then kind of reactivate it, re-heighten it. And when that takes place, oh my gosh, not only is your mind feeling completely unlocked, but also we realize, just like you were saying, you're doing back bends, whatever it was, your body
Mm-hmm.
is very malleable and adaptable,
Mm-hmm.
contortable
Mm-hmm.
to whatever it is you so please. But it's our own mental conditioning that we're choosing, or oftentimes unconsciously choosing, to have in our reality
Mm-hmm.
that even stops our body from being able to contort in those ways.
Mm-hmm.
That's why like stretching may be so important, or
Mm-hmm.
yoga to some people. There's many other different type of practices that reawaken the dormant parts of our body.
Mm-hmm.
And so during that Kundalini awakening, it can be a temporary thing where you may be able to do handstands, a backflip, back bends
Yeah.
when you're in that mode.
Mm-hmm.
But then a few weeks later, you're just not going to be able to do those exact same things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's such a unique, I think, heightened part of the spiritual experience that I haven't yet really, probably the same as you, emphasize the importance of doing that consistently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same.
And maybe after this, it's like, this is probably the sign we should.
Right.
Or
And it's
that's
like,
in our best interest.
I mean, the more practices and things we become aware of, be it like meditation, Kriya yoga, moving Kundalini energy, doing Qigong, like all these things, if we are meant to be the vessels to bring these big projects into the world, these are the ways to do it.
Most definitely. That's why, again, my nervous system as a founder of companies is the energy the entire company will be based off of.
Mm-hmm.
The size of my vessel fills the entirety of the business's vessel.
Yeah. I'm curious to drop into the nervous system and body, like right now in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
What have you felt throughout this conversation?
I feel, thankfully, a lot of peace.
Mm-hmm.
It's as if the nervous system is just at kind of its default state of serenity and harmonization right now. I'm trying to think if there's any moments during this conversation where I felt a little spiked up. When I was about to ask you of like the profile picture, you can feel a little bit.
Mm.
And it's less of a mind of like, no, don't say that, like it used to be.
It's your masculine energy coming through.
100%.
Yeah.
It's less of that. It's less of the mind telling me things like it used to be. Now it's just this tension in the body that I begin to feel. And just over time, that feeling has lessened to the point where I identify it as a feeling. And I'm like, okay, this feeling's valid, but I still want to say this and it feels right to say this, so I will. And so the nervous system, just throughout everyone in life, every conversation you have, every time you're driving, it's getting, it's just kind of ready. It's the security alarm. Just kind of ready to start beeping at something. And it has different variations of the level of which it'll sit you off. But yeah, thankfully I've realized the more I become great at understanding and utilizing my nervous system as the incredible tool that it is, and I practice expanding it on a daily basis, that allows for me to take larger risks, like we talked about earlier today, larger risks in life without my entire being, my body and mind wanting to shut down because of how creative and expansive that thing may be. And how this looks in the real world is like, all right, I hired 3 employees last week. Oh, I did this, I did that. Especially right now, business is a huge thing, but it can be for health for some people. It can be from, asking a certain person a certain question or having a certain conversation. But whatever it is, keeping in mind that this thing is pretty much the governor to our success. Just like on a car where it can stop you at 140 miles an hour, and some cars 80, whatever it is. That's what our nervous system is doing to us. And so if we can make that governor more malleable and expand it to a higher degree, we can simply just hold more energy. That same energy that comes with wealth, fame, success, happiness, fulfillment. You need to believe you're worthy of that and must have the space for it. So that's been taking up a lot of my life recently, learning how to do that. Yeah.
And do you think processing to create that space, like you mentioned, like laying on the bathroom floor or something, like there's a lot of times where when I'm pushing into a new level or I've just been taking on a lot, I need to curl up in the fetal position for like an hour or a day.
Dude, I've curled up in the fetal position for so much time over the past year.
Yeah.
That it's shocking.
Yeah, me too.
It's the amount of times I've just allowed myself to be sobbing on the floor of why am I here? Why am I living? Why do I feel as if I need to do this? Why can't I just go back to life on a hut where I drive mopeds around and have no bills and don't know anyone, have no responsibility? This tug of war within was very active.
Dude, something I want to make a comment on real quick is your moon, which is your mind and your subconscious emotional world, is in Gemini. Gemini is symbolized by the twins. It's like dualistic. So you can see both sides of everything. And your emotional world is in that placement as well. So I just wanted to make a comment on that. That's interesting.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. I feel with everything, any opinion someone has on life, I can see the other side. I can see their side, I can see the other side, no matter what. I can see all perspectives immediately and always have been able to. But yeah, it's also, and this may come true for you, I have no idea. I've realized for me to unlock a new level of love, a new level of abundance and success, I must fully feel what the opposite of that looks like. So the more I press the gas pedal with business, the more I must fully feel what it could be like if I lost everything. And that goes with everything I do. It's like I need to be fully at peace with being alone and starving. And for some reason, L's not in the picture. All these things I own are not in the picture. Losing everything. And the more I'm at peace with that side of me, that potential reality, and I'm now not running away from that potentially being the case, and I'm actually running towards it and facing it directly on, the moment I fully face it, I'm free of it. And from there, it's like, oh, that's the worst it can get? I just felt that'll be it? Okay. That's okay. I'll figure things out. I'm not dead. I'm alive. I'm like, all right, so if the absolute worst case scenario isn't that bad, I literally have felt it in my body, I put myself there, I can just go all offense, and who cares? If that's the worst thing, it doesn't matter. But I'm naturally meant to be a risk taker, which will lead to the immense amount of business success and everything like that. But
Saturn in Aries.
That dual part of me is needed.
Yes.
And I only step into a new level after I allow myself to be angry, to be shameful, to be guilty, to feel that fear that comes up. That was the last domino to fall before that big breakthrough. Yeah. Do you feel the same for you? Or what's taking place as you see yourself
when I'm
in the fetal position?
Like, why do I end up in the fetal position?
Yeah.
That's a good question. Sometimes it's just like the amount of stimulation or the amount of things to do. It's like, okay, I got up at 5, 6 a.m. I worked on my own stuff for a few hours. I went to class and I was kind of in class, but I was also doing my own stuff in the corner, working on another project, and then still answering a question. And then I go to football lift, and then I come back, and then I have when it's a lot, when there's a lot on my plate, sometimes I just have to come home and collapse just onto the floor, fetal position, and it's so peaceful to get into that state. It's like I feel safe. I feel like I'm in my own womb. I'm in the womb of God, basically. Yeah, that feels right.
Feels that way.
Maybe that's another book, The Womb of God, right? I don't know. But yeah, it's like trying to find that divine feminine mother energy within myself as well, because we're predominantly masculine. And when you're predominantly masculine, you're making so much progress in the world. There's so much to do. You're in doing most of the time. The fetal position is like being. And then something I noticed too is sometimes guilt or shame comes up around that as well. Of like, do I want to really be in the fetal position right now? Like, or I've been in the fetal position for a day. Like, it happened a few weeks ago for the first time in a while. Like, I spent a few days like pretty much laying around doing nothing. And it was any guilt or shame around that perpetuated it. But once I completely gave myself the peace to say, it's okay, like just lay here for as long as you need to, the next breakthrough ideas happened.
Same for me, man.
Right?
I always get my breakthroughs as I'm just laying down listening to music or taking a nap or just chilling.
In the being.
In the being. The being is where the creativity sparks. That leads to the most enjoyable doing possible. Wow.
Yeah, it's the feminine side. And this is the thing for men too in general. I think you probably learned a bit about it in Bali for sure. Like, how do I find my feminine side? What is my feminine side? I learned about it in Thailand, and it's helping me a lot. And I think another part of our purpose, and maybe this is more me, I might be projecting it onto you, but it's helping men connect with their feminine emotional side.
Well, that's definitely me too. I mean, I have a men's community, right?
Yeah.
And so I think for me, it's really finding that good balance.
And in that men's community, like, yeah, you're the male leader, but I'm curious because I felt this in my own communities or retreats that we've run or coaching. I kind of take on the archetype of the divine mother.
Yeah.
Even in a group of men that I'm leading as a male leader, I'm really in the energy of the divine feminine.
Most definitely.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
I feel very balanced, like more than the average person when it comes to masculine and feminine.
Mm-hmm.
And so I take on the role that is necessary in that moment.
Mm.
And so if you and I are like leading, like we did a retreat, very good chance it'd be more divine feminine. I'll be more divine masculine. I'll be like, all right, y'all, time to be together. We're doing this now. We're doing this and that, making sure everything's all good in all given times. You're more just making sure the energy is just great in all moments, it feels.
Mm-hmm.
And you're more likely to be like, oh, let's go off and do this instead.
Yeah.
Be more fluid and intuitive when it comes to approach, which is needed and makes the retreat great. If I had someone that is deep masculine doing a retreat with, or just, business with, I will take more of the feminine role. Let's create here. Let's flow. Let's just, everyone's doing a good time. Everyone's having fun. Just, it can flow in comparison 100%. And so I feel like that's like, I look at every single man in my community that I've ever worked with and see where they are on the spectrum. And I work with getting them back in the middle, getting them back balanced. So some men too in the feminine, I get you more masculine. Make sure your life is in order. Make sure that you're able to provide and protect, everything like that. And then if you're more masculine, like a lot of men are nowadays, to get them to be more caring, more loving, more compassionate, and first off, starting with yourself and then to others. Getting them there, getting them to enjoy life and not have it feel like a task list or to-do list. That is, the biggest unlock they've ever had. And they notice that when, like we're saying, as they embrace the feminine in particular, that is when the masculine things they already do become better. There's less thinking involved, less overthinking. It's very intuitive, from the body answers, direction, creations, and it leads this beautiful balance that they can then enjoy experiencing for the rest of their lives. They'll have seasons that are more feminine, just like you and I both have, seasons of more masculine, just like you and I both had. It's all perfect, but being able to play that game, becoming aware of where we are and what, not necessarily the end goal, but the highest level of embodiment could be, that's when it gets so much fun. And that's when it just unlocks the entire video game. That's a big thing around getting the controller back. And I'm gonna go on to that because it's very important for me to say this right now. It feels important. What prepares people to find the person they're meant to be with romantically is that balance. When they are fully balanced is when they become a magnet for their person. I'm saying that can happen almost immediately, like it did for Elle and I. I feel like I became fully balanced within 48 hours before meeting Elle. And so our souls are just waiting for us to become fully balanced, for us then to attract, especially when it comes to family, what it is we're meant to have in that moment. So I love the masculine feminine dynamic. It is what makes up human nature. And too much on either side in today's day and age, or just in general, is not natural. It's all artificial. It's done so from a place of trauma, more than likely, especially masculine. But the amount of people I've seen, once they kind of balance it out and then life just turns into this incredible fun experience, makes it realize that like we are probably meant, and again, I could be projecting this on you, but we are probably meant to make sure that as many people as possible are aware of this and do what they can to find whatever place they're meant to be in the spectrum. Yeah.
Yeah, I resonate.
Do you feel as if growing up you were more like masculine or feminine?
I'd say probably feminine.
What did it look like for you?
It was more so because I was always the youngest kid on my sports teams. And so I always felt like smaller, softer. I could really read people very well. And even like if I look at my astrology chart, my Vedic chart, like it's it'd probably be like 65% feminine and 35% masculine. And my core nature is Cancer, which this is why Vedic gave me such a different self perspective than Western. But
So you're saying there's two astrology charts.
mhm,
One, the Western, what
Western.
goes on, and there's Vedic, which is more,
mhm,
is Eastern or just in general, it's
Eastern,
been around longer?
Indian, it's been around longer. It uses some special calculation that accounts for the wobble of the earth over time, whereas Western doesn't. So Western, when it was devised 2000 years ago, there has been a wobble of the earth related to the constellations that's not accounted for. And so it's 23.5 degrees off, whereas Vedic has a special calculation to account for that. So what I feel is Western is more of your worldly self or how you perceive yourself in the world. Vedic is more of your spiritual self.
Wow.
It's your soul. It's more like your cosmic self. So I feel like I've got a closer read on my true nature. And even like in this trip so far in Austin, I've been here for a day. I feel like I'm deepening into my Cancer energy, like really being present with people, feeling people, like caring about everybody I meet. Like it's beautiful. And I want to embrace that part of myself. And the archetype of Cancer is the Divine Mother. And your North Node is Cancer.
Mm.
So that means you're evolving to that sign in this lifetime. Your soul is evolving towards Cancer.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what would that look like
For you?
in the world? Yeah.
Evolving towards the Divine Mother archetype, the emotionally caring, empathetic, nurturing energy.
Yeah. It definitely feels right.
Yeah. I mean, you're already doing that, most definitely.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Awesome. That feels right. I mean, I don't feel like I'm meant to go to war. I'm not meant to, I mean,
Mhm.
I think war within itself is going to be a thing of the past very soon.
Mhm.
But the idea of like the most masculine thing ever, that doesn't feel like my path.
Mhm.
I feel like I have a very strong sense of that, but I feel like I'm meant to teach people how to nurture,
Mhm.
not
Mhm.
how to, be orderly to some extent.
Interesting. Because your South Node, if your North Node is Cancer, your South Node, so your past life, comfort zone, is Capricorn, which is very orderly, disciplined, masculine, structured.
So
So that's easy for you. That's why you had success in finance and all that stuff. Like it just comes natural. Like, and that's the integration of, okay, I'm a businessman. I can be very orderly structured, but the soul is evolving towards how does that become more cancerous, and not in the Cancer word, right? But the energy of the sign.
that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
That feels like my entire life.
Yeah.
Like that's my twist onto business, onto everything else. It's an
Mhm.
evolution towards nurturing everyone involved.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I love that. Even back to what I was saying earlier, it just feels right for me to live stream and vlog a lot of our
Mhm.
life, including literally nurturing kids.
Dude, so many things are just clicking from your chart because I looked at it before. I'm glad I looked at it because it's framed this conversation. But your Mars, which is your energy, drive, ambition, is in Sagittarius, which is adventurous, exploration, learning, curiosity, teaching. So I think that all the ideas and the new ideas, like maybe it's travel, maybe it's going down a new rabbit hole, maybe it's trying a new project, live streaming NBA 2K, all those things, that's where your energy is going to come from. Like the more you tap into the adventurous spirit, the more energy you're going to have.
It makes perfect sense. The more I'm trying new things
Mm-hmm.
and building something exciting,
Mm-hmm.
it feels like it unlocks this new world. Like I feel like I have at least 60% more energy than if I were to without it.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. We can look at it more later if you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. What does your astrology say about your life at this moment? In the season that
great
you're currently
question.
in or going into?
Great question. There's a few planets that I think are relevant. Saturn. My Saturn is in Taurus. So Saturn is karmic lessons, maturity, responsibility. Saturn return habits at 29 and a half. Taurus is grounded material stability. So I feel right now I'm in the early building blocks of how do I really find that material stability and what does that mean for me? So Saturn's having a big influence. Mars as well. Mars is in Scorpio, which is like a very powerful placement. And I think me being a quarterback is really deepening into that warrior energy, that warrior spirit. ChatGPT told me something one time and it stuck with me. It's like with Mars in Scorpio and in the first house, which is my rising or my personality is also Scorpio. It's like you're literally built for war. And that's what I said about the basketball court earlier. Like sometimes like I think I'm actually so fucking intense that I don't really always let it come out. But like when it's the right time, be it like, okay, it's like the fourth quarter of a football game, like it's time like to fully step into it. That's in there. So I'm weaving through the softer side to find that like intensity within me.
I love that so much, man.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You feel like that's a huge part of what you're meant to learn as you were, feel called back to go play D3 football. Like,
yeah,
it's finding that balance and finding how to turn on that switch. You think it may be one of the big reasons?
Definitely. Yeah. Because it's like the impact I want to have on the world or a business to build or books to write, like coming from that same energy. And I feel that my body, as I'm speaking all of this, like it's all like contracting, but not in a bad way, in like a flexing way, in like, not like I'm flexing, but like muscles are turning on, energy's turning on. Like that's the energy.
I know exactly what you mean.
Because I think I have a very high capacity, even like in my body, to be very strong. If I really committed to it, I could be really fucking strong. But it hasn't always been a priority because like I like being chill and going with the flow. But like what I'm learning is how do I integrate all these different aspects of my chart and myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've noticed when it comes to astrology, when it comes to human design, once you open up your mind to the point where you believe that this can be true or it can have a large effect in your life, especially human design, when it comes to it really showing you what your strengths are and what you are more enjoying. Let's say if you were to align with these things that this design says, your life will feel better.
What have you learned your strengths are?
So many. One thing, and this is very practical stuff, right? I love the idea of the philosophical, what this means in the grand scheme of things, but also I want to know how it's affecting my day to day. So when it comes to human design and astrology, because I guess they're kind of based on the same thing, human design just being a different type of measuring of that person. I've realized that number one, like very lifestyle things, I work best when I'm in flow. I don't want the same structure routine every single day for 20 years. I'm not meant to work in front of a computer. I'm meant to be connecting with people at all given times. When it comes to my body, it deeply needs sleep, but also it deeply needs to be moving. And so the one thing the human design person I work with told me, she said, busy hands, empty mind. Keep that in mind forever. The more you're moving, the more you're doing your thing, the less this becomes a toxin or this ruins things. So making sure I'm active is very, very important. Also, when it comes to my appetite, what I'm meant to eat. And when she said this, I'm like, this makes perfect sense. It's like, you're only meant to eat one thing at a time. So you separate all the things on your plate and you eat them one at a time. But also in the span of a day, it's just going to be snacking. You're not going to have two big meals or three big meals. It's going to be like half a dozen, little snack here, then a few pieces of chicken here, then a little snack here, then a bigger thing here, fruit here, and vegetable here, whatever it is. So those very tangible things are something that I've been introducing in my life. And the moment I do it, I'm like, this feels so much better. This is incredible. Yeah,
it's like a read on your true nature and you're reconnecting to it.
Most definitely. And she made very clear that I'm also, I'll say on here, she had this one thing. It was so funny. She saw this, like she read this, and then she's like, okay, Cam, have you ever, looked at yourself or heard from others or just observed your behavior that would, and again, this is just in a very subtle way, would you ever consider yourself to be autistic? I had the exact same reaction you did. And I said in response, I was like, that has been the running joke in all of my family and friend relationships my entire life. I'm a little awkward. I'm a little off. I feel like, and this is all hypothetical, if I was an alien,
Hypothetical.
that needed to like learn how to be human real quick, to like really master human nature, to then help course correct them back onto the path, I would act that way. Like you can tell, if you would hang out with me in the first few times, probably wouldn't be able to tell as much. But then come like the third or fourth time hanging out with me, especially hours in, you're like, that was a little odd right there. I don't know what that was. That was something about the behavior, something about how I was eating, whatever it was. So she said that, which was very vindicating and also just feels very true, which was big. And just kind of giving me permission to say like it's okay to be that way, which was huge. She also let me know that I have an open head and open ajna when it comes to the chart within itself. So I'm very hyper susceptible to the environment around me. So if it's in a place where it's very loud, or a lot of energies, a lot of people, very chaotic, that can be very hard for me. Cities as a whole, very difficult for me. And just like we said earlier today, oftentimes when you're in cities, it's a lot more difficult to have your spiritual gifts tuned, because think about it. Cities are so unnatural. They're concrete jungles. Yeah. This has not ever existed though, which it does before. And with, EMF radiation, with everything that goes on in a city, it's pretty rough in comparison to what would happen if we're just in the middle of nature. And so being more clear on that, being able to learn how to cleanse my mind, cleanse my energy, at all given points has been huge. But yeah, it's thankfully in a very tangible way has helped me understand what I've always kind of intuitively known to be true about myself. But society of the programming of CEOs do this, you got to be this way to do this, you got to eat these times in this way, you got to be carnivore, you got to be vegan, whatever it is. All those programs, those boxes that we've been given, give myself the permission to like truly not care about all those and realize, and this is the most important part that encompasses everything, my sacral makes all my decisions. And I know immediately if something's for me or not for me. So in my body, if you're like, Cam, let's go get a steak after this, I'll know immediately just by the body reaction of like,
it's your sacral's your authority center?
Yeah.
Interesting. Mine is my solar plexus.
Really?
Yeah. And I haven't thought about it for a while, but now I'm thinking about it.
It's big.
And I wonder if my sacral, since it's not my authority, because sometimes I feel my sacral activate and I know what it's activating for is not the right thing. Most definitely.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, probably difference there. But for mine, it's like every decision, I have an immediate bodily reaction. So if you were to say, you want to get a steak, if I really wanted a steak and my body was craving that, it'd be like, yeah, let's do it. But if it wasn't craving, it'd be like, no, like my whole physical body would move. And so that's just not only for what we're going to eat, but also every decision I could possibly make. So when you have the awareness to understand and be more intentional with how you view yourself and observe how your body orchestrates, how your being exists, that is just so much data and feedback to help have a life with less friction and more fulfillment. Yeah. Have you dabbled in human design at all? Or anything like that?
A little bit, not a lot. I know we're both manifesting generators. I know that my authority is my solar plexus. I know I'm a 5-1, which from my learning, it means a 1 is you go down to the depths and you explore things deeply. 5 is like leader of large groups. And so I think I'm supposed to go down, explore esoteric knowledge, and then bring it to a lot of people from that. And then there's been other subtle things. Like I learned from my human design, I thrive when I'm in an external market, be it a coffee shop, a city, the creator economy, the internet, but I'm in my own corner and I'm watching it all happen. So that's been, every time I go to a coffee shop now, I sit in the corner. Every time, and I already was naturally doing this. But even in Thailand, this is the best I ever felt. There was this street in Pai. So there's Walking Street with all the bars, this bar that plays this great EDM music called psychedelic trance that I love. And then there's another street with all like the shops and stands. And I stayed at a hotel in the corner of this little city for 2 weeks with a coffee shop and everything right around me. Never felt better. And so there's something there for me to be in a city, a bustling market, but be in my corner where I can observe it, I can be in it, I can go out into it, but retreat into my own solitude and reflect on it, basically.
I love that.
Yeah, so that's a little human design.
Yeah, it's a constant state of observation, it feels. You're in it, but not of it. I love that, man.
Even like with Austin, like there's something about it here for me where it feels like home, but to some extent I like to be away from it. And then I come and hang out for a few days with everybody and I catch up. And then I go in my own journey again. There's something about that that I really enjoy.
It feels like the perfect balance for you. Maybe forever. You never know.
Who knows?
Yeah. I can definitely see you having home bases around the world that you just float to whenever it feels right.
You said that many times and I appreciate it. I think about that.
That'd be incredible.
Yeah.
And it don't have to be mansions by any means. You get a place in Thailand for relatively cheap and all that. Like, it'd be awesome.
Yeah.
It'd be so cool. I would love to ask you, you have dipped your toe pretty heavy into astrology. We just talked about human design. These are things that in particular, a lot of men our age are very against learning about because it seems to be like a very feminine thing or just not something that's super popular or mainstream. I know like when I was in college, it became more of a trend for women to understand these things. And as men, I would like make fun, especially with my friends, like we would make fun of how much they cared about astrology and like the planets of like, I'm some type of tumor because I'm a Cancer, like whatever it is. It's sad.
It makes me sad because there's something so pure in it from like, I had this one moment where I was sitting next to this 14, 15-year-old girl on a plane ride and I had an astrology book I was reading and she was like into astrology a little bit, but like all her friends thought it was kind of weird. And I just felt like I had to give her this book. But there's that purity of like wanting to receive knowledge, being curious that I think the feminine is naturally inclined to because it's receptivity. You're receiving the information about yourself from somewhere else. The masculine doesn't want to receive that.
It wants to give. It wants to mansplain.
Yeah, it's like, it wants to control it, right? But the feminine, I've really gotten closer with females in general in the past year, like really connecting with them on a deeper level. Like I love girls, not just in a romantic context, but like also in just like there's something about if I see a group of like 5-year-old girls, like a family, like of little girls, there's something so beautiful about that to me. It's hard to almost explain.
Yeah.
And there, you can see it in little boys too, but like, I gotta be really careful with how I'm explaining all this, but like the purity of a kid, especially a little girl, like it's the most beautiful thing in the world.
I completely agree. And I've noticed that if there's any ever disliking of a certain gender, it's coming from a deep imbalance.
Oh yeah.
So if you hate men, you hate women, hate kids, hate older people, whatever, of course, race and stuff like that. But when it comes to the dynamics of gender dynamic, if you feel any judgment, resentment, hatred towards one, that means you're significantly imbalanced. And it's a sad world that we live in, but most people are in that realm at this moment. So I would just love kind of back onto the astrology and human design part of it. If let's just say one of your high school best friends were to come to you and say, Jack, I don't know 2 things about any of that stuff you do when it comes to astrology, but I'm open to learning about it. Can you share with me why you believe in it? What merit does it hold? And what I need to know as a beginner?
This is where I think fusing the practical and the scientific with the spiritual is so important to be able to explain things. So I would go back to first principles. I'd be like, let's look at who you are at your core nature. Before you had a name, you were just a certain combination pattern of particles and frequency that came into the universe when the stars and the solar system were all in a particular planet. And if we know from Newton's laws that everything is magnetized to everything else, like this Mountain Valley water bottle has a gravitational pull to Pluto, very subtly, but everything is interconnected, right? All is mind, the universe is mental. We can explain it from so many different philosophies. So if we know everything's connected, everything has a gravitational pull, you are an expression, a particle of the universe, how would Mars not be affecting you if it's gravitationally impacting you in an energetic way? So that's how I would try to go explain it from scientific first principles.
That makes perfect sense.
It's actually not even spiritual.
It
in a
isn't.
way.
It's a science.
It's not. Yeah, this is what blew my mind. Like a few really wise people I met, one like 65-year-old guru master in Thailand, and then a very wise Vedic astrologer. They both said the same thing. They said Vedic astrology is the most ancient form of science.
Ooh.
And it's really not like woo-woo at all. It's just like mapping the stars.
It's very similar to geometry. It's sacred geometry,
Yes.
for the most part.
Yes.
That's incredible.
And everybody's chart has a shape associated with it too. Ours look a bit similar.
How so?
There's a rectangle that crosses the entire chart, which is defined as a mystic rectangle.
Really?
Yeah.
So what does it mean, mystic rectangle?
From my understanding, it's like you just have certain gifts and mystical understanding of reality. I think in a practical way, it's like if your chart reaches across the whole chart, you can see through the entire reality. You understand it from all the different angles. Is that what that might be what being a mystic is, right?
I would say so. I guess I never really tried to define mystic, but that's definitely how I see my life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's definitely, I think, how you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
So cool.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there anything that you had on your mind or heart that you wanted to talk about, share today that we haven't yet done?
I think I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for this podcast studio, this podcast. It's so fun. Like, it really feels like a blessing and a privilege to fly down to Austin and then instantly have so many friends that I can just connect with. And then we go play basketball and do a podcast. It's like, this is our life now. Like, it's beautiful. So
and that
I'm
only
very
happened.
grateful.
Thank you so much for that. That's
Yeah.
definitely deeply received. But it only happens when you are someone worth other people really wanting to see.
Mm-hmm.
It only happens when you create yourself into a person that attracts anyone and everyone who is compatible with them. And so you just have everywhere you go now, probably hometown or where you go to college, here, Thailand, you just have sometimes three,
Yeah, it's
sometimes half a
interesting.
dozen people that are just really vibe with you, and you'll always be able to kind of feel home wherever you are. So that's incredible. I'm so glad
Yeah.
you've been able to build that over the past handful of years.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm learning more about that and how in my nature it is. Like, one last astrology comment and then I'll stop. My second house, which is the house of career, yours is in Scorpio, which is your career work is going to be built around depth and transformation. Mine's Sagittarius, travel, exploration, adventure. So I could see this starting to emerge in both of us, like in our different expressions. It's really cool to see. But yeah, dude, like this has just been flow. I don't even remember what we fucking talked about.
It's all good. That last thing about astrology you said, that makes perfect sense. Why
Yeah.
you feel more inclined right now to travel and to experience an adventure, and then probably document those things.
Right.
And then other people feeling called to do the same if it's meant to be for them. And then for me, I'm all about deeply transforming people's lives.
Yes.
And we're doing exactly what it is
Yeah.
that we are aligned, what the universe is sharing with us. It's so
Right.
fascinating, because when that's the case, it makes me wonder how much of our behavior is actually us consciously doing it, or if it's already kind of predetermined.
That's interesting. From my understanding, my perspective is that there are high frequency expressions of each sign and low frequency expressions of each sign. So, second house in Sagittarius, high expression is like maybe I'm traveling around the world as a writer and a DJ, and I'm like able to make a ton of abundance and a huge impact. Low expression is like I'm barely scraping by each month, but I'm still in the Sagittarius energy, but it's a lower expression. So,
Wow.
yeah. And then I think whether you're in a high frequency or low is free will. Like, what are you choosing to be in?
Frequency or timeline,
Yes.
is the way to put it.
Yes.
So it's like we're designed to have a certain experience in this life, but the depths of that experience, the abundance behind that experience, can shift over time. And what we consciously are able to do is choose which part of the timeline we want to be on. The highest timeline, where we have the most abundance, the most love, the most courage, the most magnetism for everything we ever could possibly want, the most adventure, the most free, the highest authentic version of ourselves. But then there's the opposite. Wow. Where do you feel as if you are right now in comparison to what you can be?
That's a good question.
What if let's say it's all, let's make it very simple. So level 1 would be the lowest timeline, or level 0, and then level 10 is full alignment, full authenticity, full love, highest timeline. Where are you living?
7, probably.
7.
Yeah, I would say a 7. I think there's a lot of room for me to grow and step into my power.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's
but
really
I
cool.
also, I have a tendency to not give myself a lot of credit sometimes, but 7 feels like a reasonable number. Like, I feel good. I feel aligned. I feel like I'm living in my purpose. But there's another level. And I think about this as well. Like, remember the first time I ever took mushrooms, I thought about this. Like, a great writer doesn't peak until they're 60 or 70 years old. And so you're 25, I'm 23. Like, even as an entrepreneur or businessman, like, sure, Steve Jobs was running Apple at like 22, but that's an anomaly. And he was perfectly positioned. He's also a Pisces, so it was in his nature to be that guy. But I think giving ourselves grace, like, we have time, but knowing there's a next level, it's like, yeah, there's a fucking next level for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel that deeply too, man. If I were to give myself a score, I'd say honestly a 9 right now. A few months ago, probably a 7. And a few months before that, a 3 or 4. Then again, it's like we can say that, but also understand that we are exactly where we need to be at this moment. And everything we manifested or everything we've lived beforehand got us here. And at any moment, we can choose to calibrate to the highest timeline or lowest timeline. There's something beautiful about that. And what I also believe, this is, I mean, potentially part of it, we are meant to not reach our full potential yet because we're here to teach others how to do so.
Right. That's like a Bodhisattva. I was thinking about stating that earlier in the conversation. Like, a Bodhisattva in Buddhism is somebody who delays their own samadhi or enlightenment to help others get there first.
That's definitely.
And I wrote a tweet about this, like, the modern entrepreneur who is awakened but is choosing to not go retreat into a cave is a Bodhisattva. Because the things you're building, you're delaying your own complete liberation to help others on the path.
That I've never felt anything resonate more than that.
Really?
That's really it. 100%. I feel like maybe you would relate to that too. I feel like our soul chose a certain experience that allowed for us to have this avatar, have this human experience that does the absolute most necessary to magnetize people to rise with them. We're leaders from the front. And so we're here to rally the troops in the least war way possible to actually rise above all of that, but with people for service of them. And every time I do that, the better I feel. When I do more for business, when I do more worldly things, the more aligned I feel, as opposed to retreating. And that's needed to some extent too. But you're 100% right. That feels right to me. It feels like we're aliens that came down, reincarnated here. We're like wise, higher density beings, came down to reincarnate, pick avatars that are relatable because we lived a normal life.
Yeah.
And we will continue living a normal life, somewhat, just on different terms because we understand more of our power and show other people how to do the same. That feels so right. And it's so beautiful. It's so awesome. Like, that's the video game character I've picked for this life. I'm
so curious to see how our friendship and relationship evolves with what we end up independently doing. Because I think we, at this path, at this stage, like me, you, Danny, Nick Sweeney, Jack Sweeney, we all met at a very similar point in our lives. That's why we met, because we're in a similar chrysalis. If we expand the timelines out 20, 30 years, we're all going to be doing way different shit.
100%.
Way different things.
To a completely different level.
And I wonder, it's like 30 years from now, like, you're fucking, you're like the conscious Warren Buffett or something. And like, I'm like the next iteration of Alan Watts or something like that. Like, and then we still have this friendship and this collaboration, which is going to be so powerful.
Yeah, and Danny's out here being Wayne Dyer.
Danny's totally fucking Wayne Dyer.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That's going to be fun.
It's going to be cool to see the story play out.
Yeah. I just know, and I'm so glad we're recording this right now and saying this. We're going to look back at these episodes, and other people are going to look back at these episodes. Of like, wait, those people did a podcast back in 2025?
Yes.
And now we see what's happening in 2037 and how much they're orchestrating things. It's going to be huge. It's going to feel incredible. It's going to feel massive.
Dude, you get me fucking excited, bro. I feel fired up. I feel really fired up about just where things are heading. And I think we learn about ourselves in comparison to others in a way. Like, you know yourself truly internally, but like talking to you and talking to everybody else, I'm learning more about what's my unique frequency. Who am I uniquely meant to be? And it's becoming more clear through this conversation.
Incredible.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for. That's what happens when you question everything.
That's what the title of the podcast is?
Yeah.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful. Like, I feel a lot of energy, clarity coming out of this.
Incredible. That the intention was for the Ayahuasca to take place, and apparently that was it. So,
it did.
So glad to hear that, man.
Thank you, bro.
Now, before we end here, I'd love for people to know where they can find you, where they can keep up with everything Jack Moses.
Yeah. Twitter is Jack Moses 0. That's probably my most active platform. I guess I'll talk to the camera. Twitter, Jack Moses 0, most active platform. I'm starting to write long form on Substack, both with my personal newsletter and a Vedic astrology newsletter, which is going to all evolve. 2 communities are coming, Sovereign Creators and Transcendence. Sovereign Creators is more going to be, how can you take the first steps towards creating online and making money on the internet? And then Transcendence is going to be much more high level, metaphysical, spiritual concepts infused with business, and then books and different things like that. But I would say just follow me on Twitter, Jack Moses 0. That's the place.
Incredible.
And everything will come from there.
You will not regret it. You'll be joining like 30,000 people doing the exact same. He's awesome. He's doing great things. Thank you so much for watching this Question Everything episode. We'll see you next week. Peace.